According to this, it's going, but there we go. Hello and welcome everybody to the Speight's Coast to Coast webinar. This is number 6, the final webinar for 2012. This is sponsored by Speight's in honour of the 30th anniversary of the great race. This is, as I said, the final one, number 6, and we'll be talking today about tips and tricks for race day. First, better do the housekeeping. There's a chat room to the right-hand side of the web page, so please, if you can, ask any questions that might occur to you at any time. It's a simple process to register. I'm sure you've done it before. And keep those questions coming right through the whole webinar. We'll be happy to answer anything that you might come up with. Who am I? Well, if you don't already know, my name's Kelly Barber. I'm here hosting these webinars. I've done 12 coast to coast, getting ready for my 13th. Not as many as my guest today, but done the one day a few times and the 2-day and the team's races, so seen the race from all angles. Tonight's guest is a legend of the coast to coast. In fact, you might recognise him on the back of this. Yeah, I know. I'm just. This is the 2008 Speight's Coast to Coast can, and on the back, if we can get it into focus, is tonight's speaker, or tonight's guest, is the great Steve Gurney. So, Steve, come and sit down, grab a seat there. Well, Steve, I'm trying to get your can in focus. It's just a nightmare.
Well, here's better. Get this in focus. Go for the real thing. Go for the horse's mouth. Not saying I'm a horse, but well, we can go further on that one. We won't.
We won't. So I'm going to finish my introduction. It's pretty embarrassing when you try and do it with the person sitting.
No, on with the show, man.
Okay, let's get on with the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk today about tips and tricks in preparation for the coast to coast. It's only a week and a half away now, so people won't be wanting to overtrain. They'll be wanting to get those little bits and pieces right so that they have a really good race day.
Yeah, this is my favourite, actually, the race day. And just to put it in a nutshell, I mean, we've only got a few minutes really tonight.
Yeah.
So we're not going to cover everything I'd love to cover here. And I've got hours and hours worth of stuff here as as your guest. But I thought, let's just get the low-hanging fruit. What's really easy to pass on to you guys? And I guess one way to encapsulate it all is, how can you be clever? How can you have fun?
Yeah.
And I even take that a step further, and I actually tried to be cunning. How can you be cunning on race day? And I'm not talking about being a bad sport or cheating. I'm just talking about how can you just think, with that big perspective thinking, how can you make race day easy and fun?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's really important to just break down the parts of the event where you use your cunning. I mean, there's transitions, and we've talked a lot about, I mean, you were really the master of transitions. Everything was prepared. You had everything right, and you had your crew practiced up on things like that.
Yeah, we heard, just to cover that one off, weeks before the event, I'd rehearse how would I like my race to go, and we're going to talk a bit about this, I think. But, but part of that was I want my transitions to be lightning quick. I got known as, the TV crews missed me because they thought they'd have time to film me while I'm getting changed, but I'm already gone. And so I'd rehearse my transitions with my support crew. We'd have a barbecue, say, in the weekend before the event, and we'd have everything laid out on the back lawn. And we didn't have to go down to the water for the kayak. We could pretend on the back lawn. Sometimes it's useful actually to go down to the water if you can, just to get the balance and how deep does it need to be, and it reminds you of things like, we need spare shoes, change your shoes because those ones get wet, stuff like that. So we'd rehearse with a stopwatch and see which is the quickest way to put on a spray skirt and who does what, and we try different ideas and get it slick. And we'd spend a good hour or two getting the transitions very slick. And
there was that year when you beat the Tasmanian guy by the transition, through your transitions. Tough race, I mean,
Well, and that's exactly right. You only have to win by 1 second.
Exactly.
To win.
Seconds
count.
It's a bit ugly though, eh?
Well, they all add up though. Each transition adds up. So.
Okay, so look, let's just talk about how to go faster.
Actually, on that note, can I just finish?
Yeah, no, go for a lot.
I've calculated, I forget the exact figure, but I timed on average, if every second I'm standing still was something like 6 meters lost.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was so critical when you added all the seconds up. A minute, that's a lot of distance that you've lost by standing still at the transition. So you can do things while you're moving. it's going to be much quicker. So there's some of the thinking.
Yeah. And I guess it's psychological too. I know I watched a lot of triathlons, swim triathlons, because my son does them. And we worked out that he ran something like 4 meters a second or 5 meters a second. And so like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, that's like nearly 20 meters. And
that's running. I was adding in kayaking and cycling as well as an average, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good point. Transitions are, you know, they may seem simple, and you know, I remember in the early days, people would sit down, they'd have a little deck chair, and they'd have a wee picnic, you know, while someone's their support group's putting a shoe on, and they'd be having a cup of tea. Yeah. And I was thinking, oh my god, that's an easy way to improve on your race. So,
yeah, I mean, I've seen videos where they were doing it, people getting their legs massaged, you know.
We've come a wee way since then.
Okay, so let's just talk about specifics. Let's talk about biking and how you can go faster on your bike. Just the simple things. I mean, some of the obvious things. I read some of the stuff actually from that you wrote and your tips. You sent them all out to people years ago.
Yeah, well, I used to run seminars, and those would be the notes that they have from the seminars and that sort of stuff. So, there's some really simple stuff. Let's talk about biking, as you said.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, and you can go and buy a $5,000 pair of fancy wheels, but one of the easiest things you can do, value for money or value for time, bang for buck, is just to get some high pressure tyres that can go up to 120 psi or something like that, 160 even some of them, and that's the best thing you do is run high pressure in your tyres. It's a little less comfortable because it doesn't absorb the impact. Right. But for race day, you suffer more pain for speed, and tyres can improve your speed by 10% sometimes if you're running flat tyres.
In conjunction with race wheels as well, like with less spokes or.
Yeah, well you can spend the money on tri-spoke wheels or deep dish wheels or disc wheels, but I don't think for a recreational cyclist or competitor, I don't think it's worth it. You're better to get some high quality tyres and pump them hard. Yeah. And I think don't skimp on race day. For the sake of a $70 tyre, you don't want to use second-hand tyres. There's a higher chance of puncturing. So put new tyres on. Treat yourself. You don't want to waste all those months and thousands of dollars of preparation by skimping on a $70 tyre. So get high-pressure tyres. Those ones will be a bit more expensive. Yeah. Pump them up hard as the recommendation is written on the side. Don't go any higher, because in the heat of the day, sometimes the air pressure increases. So tyres are the most important. The next thing on the bike, I think, is aerodynamics, is to think clean. The flappy stickers that are still on. I like to just polish my bike, get all the dust and mud off, and
it makes you feel good. You feel like you're prepared. And
well, there's more than that. It does actually have an effect. Like a rotating wheel. If you've got clean spokes, there's no mud on them, then they're going to rotate faster. There's also things like removing things you don't need on the handlebars. If there's a drink bottle holder up there,
bell.
Extra cables, and some people still ride with their lights on all day. You might as well get the lights taken off when you don't need them after the first stage. Yeah. And so that's
actually that's a good point. Yeah.
Aerodynamic drag you don't need, and it's extra weight you don't need.
Yeah. It's a game of inches, I suppose.
It is. I consider a camelback because it's more aerodynamic sitting back here instead of a drink bottle. Yeah. It's harder to put on with the bib, so you got to weigh that one up.
What about those drink bottles that people have behind them on the seat? Like the guys who do Ironman. Yeah. Things like that. What do you think of those?
Yeah, I've always had those problems with those. The bottles tend to bounce out on railway crossings and stuff like that. So I'd stick with what I used to. Yeah. You can buy aerodynamic bottles, but there's things like having the clean helmet, with no stickers flapping. You want them to have them all stuck down, decals. Other things are, I'd give your bike a birthday in terms of getting it checked over. You don't want to have a broken chain.
Oiled and greased and
bearings, you want to make sure they're running freely. So send them to the bike shop early. You've only got a week and a half now, so you want to put it tomorrow. Because they get busy. They get busy this time of year.
They do, actually. I was thinking of taking mine in next week, and so now I've booked it in for tomorrow.
And also it's a chance for you to test that the repairs are good,
my son's got a race this weekend. He took his bike out just before to make sure everything was good. Hey, what about aero helmets? You talked about, I see some guys where, in the last ride, they'll use one of those aero helmets with the cone heads, but they don't use them early on in the ride because you have to run up from the beach in them, I suppose.
Sometimes heavier and hotter. And so there's a few factors to consider there. They're expensive, So I'd say they're worth probably 1 or 2 kilometres an hour. less than that, 1 or 2% should I say?
Yeah.
Percent. So it's largely a psychological thing, you know. Yeah. And they're hotter, so if it's a hot day, you're going to get risk of dehydration. So I'd suggest
in the right conditions, maybe if you were really serious about the race.
And you've got the money, and it's going to give you the psychological edge. If it's going to make you 2 minutes faster, well, go for it, you know. But and a lot of the stuff, you know, it's the old 80-20 rule. You can get 80% of the results with just 20% of the changes, like pumping your tyres up hard, that sort of stuff. And another thing is flappy clothing. You know, so you want to think about you're not allowed to modify your bit, but you can tuck it in and stuff like that. So
you can tie it at the back, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, let's just have a look and see if there's any useful questions yet. Somebody's read your book. Somebody hasn't read mine. Do you need lights? Which is a shame.
Shame on you.
I've got a copy here. Yeah, they're going to be on special at the Coast to Coast. There's a bit of a plug there.
The navigation through Christchurch. How difficult is that? I had a couple of emails recently. The road in Christchurch must be really rough after the earthquake. Do I need a mountain bike? No, you don't. The road's fine. Just use your road bike. It'll be totally sweet. But the navigation, occasionally someone forgets to turn off, but I would study the map and just familiarise yourself just so you don't get nervous. But it's pretty hard to go wrong. If you go wrong, you're delirious and you're cross-eyed and you miss the police person that's pointing the right way. So I think it's a good idea to if you're coming into Christchurch, go and drive it, beforehand, before you head over to the coast.
Or at least study it, because it is quite important, especially, Rio's talking about coming in 14, 15 hours in the one day. It might not be the policeman still around. Just make sure that you stop at the intersections of the lights. One year I was doing it, this guy came whizzing past me while I stopped at a red light. Anyway.
Well, if you're in the first lead bunch, first hour or so, I think there's... Then the police have cleared the lights for you, but if you're further down the pack, you need to follow all the road rules.
Joe Blogs has asked if you need lights for the 2-day race. Well, you do the morning of the race. That's really important. And if you're coming in late, on the end of the second day, that would be really wise, particularly a backlight.
There are rules for this. Read your competitor handbook, and it's all clear, okay?
It's all there.
Very clear, and the route maps are all in the competitor handbook, so read that thoroughly.
So, if you want to pick up speed, we're talking about tips and tricks here. If you're looking for one way to improve, your bike is a really good start, isn't it, Steve? There's so many little things.
And the bike is a large part of the race.
Well, it is.
Kayaking's the next one. Oh, sorry.
I was going to talk just a wee bit about that. In the last kind of couple of weeks before the race, what do you think about continuing your cycling? Because you probably don't want to be too much running, if you're tapering for the race.
If you're tapering, you should be tapering by now.
Yeah.
Tapering is not about stopping training. Tapering is about allowing more recovery, so you freshen up.
Right.
And tapering, you still need to show your body the race intensity by doing some interval training, but not long, hard ones. You just need to be. I just do what we call pickups. So I'll get my heart rate up to what I consider to be race heart rate, which is quite high, anaerobic threshold sort of stuff. But then once I'm up there, then I'll stop. I'll just cruise and let my heart rate get back down again until it's down to 100 or less.
So short, fast stuff, maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't want to go too long, take too much out of the tank.
In terms of the intervals and a longer recovery between intervals. Like, for example, if I do these sessions that are duathlons where I bike up 10 minutes up a hill and then I drop my bike and run another 4 or 5 minutes at anaerobic threshold, and then I coast back down, take it easy all the way back to the bottom of the hill. I do that 4 times.
Right.
But come this week, tapering, I'll only do two of those sort of thing on that once a week day.
Right.
And I might make them a bit shorter, but more intense. That's an example of how you do it.
So that's a good little race tip there. Just make sure you taper, and if you're going to go out and you feel the need to go out, make sure you just do little short, fast stuff and don't overdo it. They say that a lot of people come into this race too tired.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
It's you're better to go into this race fresh and slightly undertrained than tired and overtrained and not recovered.
Yeah.
Way better, because this is an endurance race. If you're not fit now, you're never going to. Yeah. You're not going to improve your fitness from now on.
Too late.
If you didn't do any training from now on, there wouldn't be any disadvantage. Most of the reason you do training here is for your head.
Yeah.
Because you think, I should, and you're worried you haven't done enough. But you better do less.
It's the curse of the endurance athlete, isn't it? You never feel like you've done enough, even when you have done enough.
That's right.
Yeah, you're probably the worst example of that.
No, actually, I was very strict on my tapering because I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I overtrained the first few years, and I proved time and time again, if I did slightly less training, I had much better results. So that's my advice: is spend now more time on preparing your gear, talking with your book, organising stuff like that, planning, than training. It's much better to get the administrative side sorted out and your head in the right space. Training doesn't matter so much anymore.
Right, great point. Okay, let's move on to the kayak. In a nutshell, how do you think people can go faster in the kayak?
Okay,
and I'm talking from things, from drinking right to polish the bottom of their boat, maybe those sorts of things.
So the first thing you do is look at any rough bits on your kayak that's going to create drag. For example, if you've been training on the river, you'll notice that your aluminium rudder will have a burr on the front of it, which is going to all the rocks. So I file that off, so it's just nice and thin again, back to its normal thinness. Just use a file, and just in case we have the alternate course down the Avon River, and make sure the leading edge has no chinks in it, so I keep filing it till it's smooth, so any weed that you catch on the Avon River, if we have the alternate course, slides off. All right, so that's that sort of thing. The rudder is the main force of drag. In fact, in the race, you shouldn't be using a rudder much at all. It's like putting a handbrake on that side. You want to be steering your boat by sweep strokes or by what we call rail steering or leaning.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? It amazed me once I had problems with my rudder in the Avon, and I got back home steering just by leaning. If you just sit in your boat and lean to the side, what do you call it? Railing.
If you lift the right side, you'll turn to the right. If you lift the left side, it'll turn to the left.
Yeah.
So the wider the boat, the less the effect. But if you use that in conjunction with the sweep stroke, but we're kind of getting beyond the scope of race day here. That's more technique. But it's probably too late to change too much of that now. But things like filing your rudder so it's smooth, checking if you've repaired your boat with duct tape, you want to get those repaired with fiberglass now, because duct tape's a terrible drag.
Oh yeah, it must be huge. I mean, to have something like that on.
Yeah, if you've got duct tape, some people put duct tape on the bow to stop it, prevent it from banging or damaging. Take that off for race day. You want it nice and smooth. And some people have a little chink in the bow. You want to file or sand that nice and smooth again, so you get a nice laminar flow. And you'll have a lot of scrapes and dings on the bottom of your boat. It might be worth getting a bit of sandpaper and a sanding block and getting this the hull nice and smooth. If you're in for the wind, then you'll be wanting to sand it all down to like 400 grit wet and dry. And you sand opposite the length of the race, but length of the boat.
Did you ever polish your boat?
No. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I don't polish my hull. I polish the deck so the water runs off, but you actually want you want a slight bubbling, marbling effect on the bottom. So you want 400 grit, really fine,
like a golf ball.
No, that's too rough.
Because they have ripples on.
It's too rough. It's too rough. It depends what speed you're going. A golf ball goes much faster, and it's in the air. A jet boat goes much faster than a kayak. So we're looking at displacement hulls here, and it's a different surface finish you want. So, just to summarise, make sure there's no lumpy, sharp, cracks and scratches and things on your boat. You want to sand everything smooth as you possibly can.
I never thought to polish the top of my boat. I'd always do the bottom. It never even occurred to me.
Water sitting on the top adds weight.
Yeah, well, I suppose you're right.
Now, that's a good point. If you on my boat, it's probably too late to do this now because you probably don't have time to practice, but I used to drill a hole and get a little tube fiberglass in the bottom so I could drink the river water rather than carrying 4 or 5 or 6 litres of water in my boat. You need to drink about a litre per hour that you're kayaking on a hot day or racing on a hot day like it will be on coast to coast day. So if you're going to be out there for 5 hours, you'll need to carry 5 litres of water, and that adds up. So I would discourage people from carrying water on their back because that raises your centre of gravity and increases the instability. So I'd want to put a bladder, your camelback bladder or whatever, a wine bladder sometimes with a hose. I'd want to put it in the bottom of the boat. You can fasten it down if you're scared about taking a swim. You can fasten it down with gluing hooks and stuff and bungees in there. If you put it on the bottom of that, it's actually going to increase the stability of your boat rather than having it on your shoulders. Yeah. And it's going to be less, having it on your shoulders can cause chafing and stuff as well. And there's a lot of momentum change as you're going like this. That water has to go that way and then that way and that way. You're using more energy than you need to do. So water on the bottom.
I use a little drink container here and a small 1 litre bladder, just of 2 favourite drinks.
Yes,
but I'd still run a hose across the side of the boat so that if I just leaned over, it would go in the water.
Yeah,
and
that's another way you can do it. You can tape it down the side. So normally it's out of the water, but if you rail it over, you can suck the water. That's another way of doing it without drilling a hole. So you'd have your concentrate here handy because it only weighs a little bit. I
know it's not specifically just about a kayaking thing, but what about kind of water intake? I mean, this is a tip and a trick that Chris Cox talks about, when he started drinking 200 mils of water every 20 minutes, he found that his race times running improved significantly. How important is the discipline of eating and drinking? Well, for the beginner in particular.
The discipline of drinking is by far the most important part for this race. It's a long race. You're out there for hours. If you're doing the 2-day race, you know, you might think, oh, I can get through without drinking too much. That's all right. Yeah. But then you're setting yourself up for problems the next day. Okay, so you want to be drinking the first day, thinking about day 2 as well. You got to be fully hydrated. And if you're in the 1 day, it's even more important. You don't feel like drinking on that first bike leg because you've just had a lot and it's cool and it's not hot yet. But you must start drinking early in the day to set yourself up for the last bike leg and the kayak and stuff. And it's quite deceptive if you don't drink enough. So I'd say, I'd be aiming on average to be drinking a litre an hour. That's about how much you're likely to be sweating. And it's, you know, perhaps on the first bike leg you're going to struggle to get quite that much, but do your best. Yeah. And I'd put a wee pinch of salt per litre of drink bottle, just a pinch, not much more than that. I mean, no more than that. That's just to help it cross the cell membrane quicker. And so I just drink water, and then I have my lemon squeezies separate, so I don't have a pre-mixed concentration. I think that leads to problems. So on race day, it's really important to sit a little bit often and start by having your stomach relatively full and just keep it topped up with little sips. Yeah, and I think 200 mils every 20 minutes is not quite enough. Yeah, if you're doing the whole race.
I guess it worked for Chris. I mean, he went over the run 500 times.
Yeah, well, if you're just doing the run as a team, maybe it would work. But I'd suggest you might want to look a little bit more than that, in my opinion. Yeah. And how I do that on race day on the run is I have a little wee bottle with a bungee cord or elastic. I just hook it onto my pack. And I drink every river crossing. And so I have a squeezy. I can see the river crossing coming. I have a squeezy every 30 minutes. And I try and time that just before river crossing, so I wash it down with water. And so that's a good practice.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. We've covered basically the kayak, little tips and tricks. We've covered the bike. And just, is there anything we can cover on the run in terms of little tips and tricks? I mean, you mentioned the drinking, that's important. Before we move on to what I believe is your specialty, and that is the mental preparation for race day.
Okay, on the run, obviously you don't want to carry as little as you can in your pack. I mean, you have the compulsory stuff. You've got to carry that for sure. Yeah. But some people still ask these questions. Oh, I want to carry a camelback with my drink for the mountain run. Yeah. And my very clear opinion on this is do not carry water on the mountain run. There's perfect creek water there to drink. Just be disciplined about drinking every creek crossing.
I think we talked about this in the first the first one because the
questions still come though. Ken.
Yeah, you spend all year losing weight. And then why would you put 2 litres on your back and
4 litres? Some people carry 4 litres. It's 4 kilograms.
And carry that over the mountains when there's so much good water around.
There's no giardia. So and so don't shit in the water.
Yes, please.
100 metres off. Okay. So that's the run now. We've only got a few minutes left.
No, we got a bit. Yeah.
I'd love to talk about the mental stuff. I can talk for hours on that. So, and this is what this is about: is the cunning, the cleverness, the mental preparation for race day, and. We talked, things we want to cover is planning for things that could go wrong. How can you prevent things going wrong that are going to, get in your way? So I call this the 6 Ps. Some people call the 6 Ps prior planning prevents piss poor performance, but there's a negative word in there, piss poor performance. I don't like that. It creates the wrong picture. Prior planning promotes pristine performance or something like that. And so
positive, pristine performance.
Yeah. We both do a version of this that's slightly different, and it's really cool to tell the listeners this. And I do. Actually, I start when I first put my race entry in months beforehand, but I revise it over and over again. And now's a really good time to do it. If you haven't done it, now's perfect. So I get on my computer and I type all the things that could possibly go wrong. I make a big list of it,
great.
And I make a table. So there's 3 columns. So I put the list of things that could go wrong on the left-hand column, and then next to it are 2 columns that are solutions. And there are 2 types of solutions. One's a fence at the top of the cliff. The other's the ambulance at the bottom.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
And I'll give you, and so
it's like a risk management document.
It is
for all you corporates out there.
Yeah, and I can talk to you about this.
Steve can come and do a presentation for you.
So it's prevention and cure. So prevention is much better than a cure. For example, one of the problems, one of the hurdles I might have is getting a hole in my kayak. Now, A prevention, the fence at the top of the cliff, is to get better skills, buy a Kevlar kayak and avoid rocks, okay? The cure is a duct tape, repair kit, which is obviously, the damage has happened and you've lost time. So I'm going through and thinking, how can I prevent all these things happening? Another one is support crew running out of petrol in the car, okay? So you think, make sure they fill up. You start making a plan. And I have another document I type up, which is the plan. It's a timeline starting from the week before the race, which is, even start now if you like, right through to Thursday night, the briefing, Thursday day, all the preparation, the practice we're going to be doing. Even before that, the practice you're going to do, transitions with your support crew. And then I'm going through and I'm saying, this is a note for my support crew, by the way, this document, so they know what time they can expect me at each transition and what things I'll need to have there in that bag. And I'll label the bag with a list of all the things that should be in there, and I'll have little instructions for the crew. This is how I'd like my shoes laid out, and don't forget to put this there. I mean, all these things that I'd like them to do. So it leaves nothing to chance, nothing to. It means that the support crew don't have to feel nervous. They can enjoy the race more. I can enjoy the race more knowing I've done everything. So I go through and list off all the things that could go wrong, preventions for it, and then make from that a document about how I'd like the day to run. Yeah, so that's actually a really concise way of doing it. You're planning it out properly. It's like a risk management document. You face all those problems and you've got a solution for them. And it's amazing how much improves my confidence at the start line. Often you go to the start line, you're really nervous, but having done this, I know that I've thought of everything and I can enjoy the race. And so it's really important. There's so many ways to prepare, I mean, beyond physically, isn't there? Really. And I was just sharing with Steve before, and I think I mentioned this in our first session, is that I used to lie on my bed a few days before the race, a week. I just lie there, just calm myself down, shut my eyes, and I'd go through the whole race in my head. So I just plan everything with a notebook beside me. I'd write everything down. Sometimes I'd get up and rush off and go and grab some item of equipment that I'd forgotten about. And I'd do this probably a couple of times, usually a couple of weeks out, and then one in the last, again in the last couple of days. And that was really useful. The amount of things that I actually remembered was really useful. And I guess it does give you a confidence because you've pretty much got everything covered. Yeah. And this is also where innovation is born too. When you're listing off all the things that would be useful to prevent disaster, you think, actually that's good. Why don't I sew some Velcro on this so the hose doesn't fall off? Or things like that. Something for next year. And, well, actually, you've still got time. You've still got a week and a half. And this is where I'm constantly filling in these moments before the race, thinking of new ways of doing it. But another thing that comes out of that is never try anything new on race day. Yeah. This is another psychology, mental aspect is practice. Now is a really good time to practice. If you're using transition plates for your shoes on the bikes, practice getting in and out lots and lots of times. Do it in the dark. Do it with your eyes shut. So you know that you can do it easily on race day. So that's actually a really important point, I think, Steve, that we should make hay over. That's a shocking thing to say. But essentially what I'm trying to say is we really need to make this point that, the training is done. Your preparation is basically done. You just need to relax and just prepare and be confident and just know that you've got pretty much everything sorted out. Don't go changing anything. Be confident in what you've got. You'll be tempted to think of something crazy, or maybe I should try this, or you'll hear about somebody else using this. I mean, this is what you used to use this against people in the races. Like Steve would often bring something new so that they were thinking about him instead of thinking about their own race. And you can use that too. You can learn from that and not be distracted by something. Maybe you've seen that one of your mates has got some new race wheels. Cut that out of your mind, and concentrate on your own race. Yeah, exactly. You can only bake your cake with your recipe. You can't bake your cake with someone else's recipe. You've got strengths and weaknesses that they are different, and so you must go to your strengths. And from now on, you start to hear all these sorts of rumours about how such and such is on fire, man. He's going to blitz the mountain run, and because I've done some amazing training trip, and it's like Chinese whispers. By the time it gets out into the community, it's actually not true. And so you've got to ignore all that crap and just focus. It's so true, Kelly. You've got to focus with confidence and with a smile on your face and a sparkle in your eye. Hey, this is my race. I've trained for months. This is how I'm going to do it. My race is like this, and that goes for race day as well. And I'm not particularly fast on the run. Especially, I'm not especially particularly at the start of the run, I take half an hour to warm into it. And, the likes of Keith Murray and John Jacoby and Richard Usher, they just go like cut cacks. And I remember in the first few years, I'd try and keep up with them, thinking that this is just, I was so panicky as they disappeared in the distance. I thought I've got to keep up with them. And I'd end up feeling like I'm going to blow up. So I learned very, very early on, I've got to just let them go and do their thing and ignore them and do my race according to my strengths. And I know in my training that I go, plod up the deception, and then I actually take off a bit faster down the second half of the run, down the mega. So
that's actually another really good point about race pace, because I've often seen you in videos at the end of the race saying, oh, look, I didn't come right until after I was over goat pass, and it struck me that you'd say I could never go hard and put in the effort until I felt right. And I think that's really wise, and that's something that even a beginner can use in a positive way, in that, I pass people at the start of the run in that first, couple of Ks to the river, and they're, I mean, you just shouldn't be going that hard that early.
They're already in lactate debt, and the muscles. It's like driving a car before it's warmed up, If you put your foot down, you're going to damage something, and you're going to use fuel quicker. You're going to block the oil, You've got to wait till your motor's warmed up and ready to go, and no point in going hard, otherwise you just won't finish the race. So.
Yeah, the older you are, the more gentle the start that it is required.
And I also like to race what we call a negative split. I try and race the second half of the race harder than the first half. That's John Hellemann's technique he's taught me, and it works every time. So I hold back on the start of the race until I know I'm onto perhaps the kayak league is about half, isn't it? And I start slowly but surely picking the pace up. And it's really satisfying just to see you reel in the people that have gone too hard too soon, and you're just ticking them off, and there's a nice smile on your face, and you feel like you've done a really well-planned race. And I want to finish the race absolutely knackered, having saved nothing. Everything is out on the course. And I just flop over the finish line completely satisfied that I've gone hard. So that second half has to be quite hard. Yeah.
I mean, you can go hard in the race, but if you go hard later in the race, it's more likely to be for longer and more successful. If you go too hard early, and boy, have I done that a couple of times. I've been toasted after half an hour, and it makes it a long day or 2 days, as in my case. Okay, so we've covered off quite a few little tips and tricks here, but the last thing I want to focus on, Steve, is just little positive mind things, mental imagery, things like that. That people can use in their race. Just being positive, positive thoughts. I find that in the run sometimes that I've just drifted off thinking about other things, and it just takes my mind away from the discomfort. In the last hour of the kayak. It's another thing. I've just stumbled upon these things. I'll just be focusing on something else. How useful are those?
Okay, I can talk for hours on this, and we haven't got time to go in depth. I'd love to. I run seminars on these, by the way. Can't book in next year. The first thing I want to introduce here is a saying that I write on the deck of my kayak, on my arm, and on my bike, on the handlebars, on a piece of tape. There's a little saying that just encapsulates it all, and it says, "Energy flows where attention goes." Energy flows where attention goes. So I got introduced to this early on. I wasn't doing very well in my racing. I wasn't getting good results. And I went to see this NLP guy, and he asked me, well, when I mentioned coast to coast, what comes to mind? And I said, it's that last bike leg across the Canterbury Plains. I've had the fun, I've done the mountain run and the kayaking and stuff. And bloody last bike, grinding into the headwind on that boring straight road.
Because no matter who you are, and 1 day, 2 day, whatever, that last bike ride is tough, especially with the wind.
If it's a headwind, which is usually the case, there's only 2 years it hasn't been headwind out of 30. So it's coming. So he asked me, he said, look, Steve, what do you think of? And I said, that last bike leg. And he said, what are you thinking about? And I said, the pain in my legs, and I'm cramping, and I just can't wait to finish. And he says, is that a very exciting and motivating image to have in your head when you think about coast to coast? And, oh my goodness, no, it's not, is it? Energy flows where attention goes. And if on race day you're thinking about that, your energy is going into the cramp and the pain and the suffering. It's not going to something more powerful, like what's the reason you're doing the race in the first place? What's the big picture reason? So that's the first of all thing is write that saying somewhere. Energy flows where attention goes, and keep reminding yourself of that. And what powerful things would be good to focus on whilst you're racing and whilst you're training.
Okay, so let's brainstorm just a couple. One, you're going to be finished soon. you're going to feel.
Oh, actually,
you're going to feel proud.
That's got a slightly negative tinge to it. I'd say you're going to be finishing. Yeah, okay. It's like, oh, hurry up and get this out of the way.
Well, visualising the finish, like crossing the finish line, even if you're in 300th place or something like that.
Yeah, whatever makes your heart beat, whatever makes you, your goosebumps and hair stand if I had here. And it might be the look on your girlfriend's face, or your support could give me a big hug. It might be as you're biking through town. I got a huge buzz from seeing those people on the side streets, Bryme Street, all those streets that we pass. They've got their pot lids out and their hoses and on the couches drinking the beer. Like, good on you, mate. Yeah. And I got a huge buzz from looking them in the eyes and smiling, because they'd smile back, a big beaming smile, like, good on you, mate. So those are the sorts of things I'll focus on as well. It's not just the end result and finishing and seeing my support crew, but also the fun along the way of all those people that want to give you their energy. Because when you go and support, cheer someone as a fan, you want to give them your energy. You want your football team to do well, don't you? So the same with those people on the side of the road. They want to give you your energy, so take it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll never forget the day Bono waved to me at Mount Smart Stadium, or whatever it's called these days. Well, it felt like me. Yeah, so I mean, I can really relate to that too, because I like to do that when I'm riding, even if I'm part of a bunch. It's just, you look at the people and you think, oh God, all these people have come out and they're all kind of clapping away.
Yeah. So those are the sorts of things. Those sorts of things you want to think about is the joy of finishing with that, the celebration, the support group dinner afterwards, the juddy that giving your hand a can of beer, or me giving a hug or something like that. The support crew along the way. Now here's the next thing is your support crew are going to be, how can I put this, really important that you have fun at the transitions. Yeah. If you come in there bitching and moaning and grumpy about how your shoelace was too something or other, or you didn't get your right muesli bar, they're going to have that same sort of negative energy, and it's going to be a really dour, sad event.
They are there for you at the end of the day, so you set the tone,
So go in, and if you have to, pretend. And have a huge smile on your face and tell someone joking and ask them, how you going? Be honest. Say, well, actually, I've got a bit of cramp. Can you get something for that? But be upbeat about it. See your glass is half full, not half empty, sort of thing. And focus on what is good about the race, what is going well. You need to acknowledge the things you need help with, but have a big smile on your face and thank them. Thank them as they're leaving, as you're leaving, and thank them as they're coming in. Oh, good to see you guys. Oh, great. This is a great race. I'm really enjoying this, even though, it's not quite as what I want, whatever. I'm really looking forward to the next leg, and have a good time. Make sure, you drink and eat yourself, and you just be positive and supportive. You're the team leader.
Yeah,
and you need to
set the tone.
You need to take responsibility for setting the tone. Exactly right. Yeah. So, and that'll transfer into your whole next leg. So I think that's really important to another mental aspect. And on that note, when I send out that list, the timeline I was talking about, planning the PPP thing, I type at the top a little thank you note and say, hey, thanks for being my crew. I'm really looking forward to race day. We know we're going to do our best. We're going to do absolutely everything we can. If things don't go quite as well as we would like, we know we've done our best. But if we go with the right attitude, things are going to be even better than we thought. And look forward to having fun with you on race day. That sort of thing. And so that sets the tone for the whole leader and the whole race. And driving over, make sure you're fun and upbeat. And the morning of the race, even though you're nervous, you've got to be positive and put a big smile on your face, because mind and body are linked. And if you take this sort of upbeat, sort of smiley, sort of posture,
you'll carry it through.
To your mind.
Hey, and let's face it, we live in one of the greatest countries in the world. We're involved in one of the greatest sports ever. There's so much to be positive about. Look, it's time for these seminars to come to an end, so I'd really like to thank you, Steve.
We've got 3 minutes left, or 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, because we've got to go over the longest one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just enjoy the scenery. You pointed this out. This is a stunning place, part of the world. The Goat Pass, the Southern Alps, the main divide, the river,
the gorge.
And people pay huge money to go up as a tourist. And I think it's really important to just take a few seconds, when it's an easy piece, just look around and just notice what you've got out there, and when you're kayaking, take a big breath and just notice the beauty of the place, and that transfers to a big smile on your face as well.
So we said it's time to let the grasshopper out of the... Anyway, look, it's time to end these. I really want to thank you, Steve, for coming along and sharing your wisdom in the first seminar and this one. It's a great way to finish. This is the 30th anniversary, and so thanks to Speight for sponsoring this, and we're just so lucky to have Steve come along.
And you, my man.
Thanks, mate. And we hope you've enjoyed these seminars and that they've been either entertaining, useful, or something. And hopefully, well, I'll be over there. Are you going over?
Yeah, I'm doing TV stuff, so for Sports Hub. So looking at look up sportshub.com or .co.nz for up-to-date videos, reports, times, those sorts of things. So
it's a fantastic website. And if you see Steve out there, go up and say hi to him. If he's busy,
I'll be up there on the mountain running various spots, and I'll be on the kayaking various spots. So I'll wave a cheery hello and make sure you've got that big smile on your face. Otherwise, there'll be trouble.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Steve. And thank you to Speight. And I should say thanks to Dave, who's been sorting things out for us every week without fail. Comes in his own time. Steve, who comes along to support. He's a good fella. And to Nick Harvey, who has run these for the sponsorship agency, and Fabian and Ollie, who have done sterling work. So thanks a lot.
And remember to thank your support crew. Really important.
Don't forget your support crew. All right. That's it. We'll see you at the race. Have fun.